All right, so it has been quite a while since we've made a video like this, and to be honest, I get asked to make these videos countless times every season. But today I'm going to be going through the best controller settings on Apex Legends right now, Season 27. Now, first and foremost, at the end of the day, settings are really just preference. But it's pretty undeniable. The top pros, the best players, the vast majority of them, they use the same settings. So that should tell you there's a little bit of a pattern going on here. There are settings in Apex that are better than others. Look, not to brag too much, but I'm kind of a pioneer with these settings. All right. Now, I'm not saying I was the first one to use these, but I definitely was not the last one. I want to pretty much try and go through everything that I can go through. Apex settings, controller settings, the peripherals. The reason I don't really make these videos too often anymore is because not much has changed with Apex settings. Now, there's always going to be some people that are trying to find the next best settings, and they're posting a video about, oh, I just found these settings, they're the best, blah, blah, blah. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And the reality is there's certain settings in Apex that people have been using for the past few years that don't really need to be changed. They're the go-to. And not to mention the amount of settings videos that I've seen by random people that are literally just using a Cronus. And now I'm ass, so I'm not using a Cronus. You gotta get it together. And shameless plug, but not really, because this is an actual part of the video. The controller, arguably the most important part of the video. Now I want to give you guys just a little bit of a peek in what I'm using right now. Look at this bad boy. Look at this, man. Look at the shadows on it. 4 paddles, digital triggers, TMR thumbsticks. Now, I am sponsored by AIM Controllers, the company who makes these, but I do 100% stand by these controllers. When I tell you I've gone through basically every controller there is, I mean, I am talking literally every single controller. And I mean, I have probably in this room about 20 different controllers from about 5 to 6 different brands. So if you guys do want to check out AIM Controllers, do me a favor, look in the description, click that link that says AIM. Even if you don't plan on buying a controller, it's always nice to just check one out. And if you guys do, use code FAR. And at some point in this video, I'm not going to say when, it's going to be a little random, but I'm going to be putting up about 10 to 15 different codes. Now, these discount codes will get you $25 off an AIM controller, and you can stack that with my code FAR, which will basically give you a $400 controller for like 200 bucks. I mean, it's up to 50% off, which is just unbelievable with custom controllers. You don't get that anywhere. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but it does have digital triggers, which if you've ever had digital triggers on a controller, you can never go back. Very, very satisfying. And now these AIM controllers do come with 4 paddles. You guys can see right here, the placement is pretty solid. And of course, not to mention the new TMR sticks. And if you guys don't know what TMR sticks are, they're basically just the upgraded Hall effect joysticks that have kind of been a thing for the past few years. But these new TMRs are much better, much more responsive, less stick drift. And also, quick little bit as well, if you are on PC, overclocking this thing is an absolute must. As soon as I overclocked it, I mean, it's night and day. If you're on console, unfortunately, don't think you can overclock controllers. Now, everybody's favorite part of the settings. Now, I'm gonna go through pretty much everything that I have here, because I know there are a lot of people that when you see this, it might be a little overwhelming. You might not know what to do, and you might not even know what some of these mean. Now, these first couple right here, I would just leave on default and on. This is just basically going to give you info on your screen about guns and what keybinds use certain abilities and weapon swaps, stuff like that. And now these next two right here might be preference, but personally, I think X with the shield icon is probably the best, because what that's going to do is it's going to show you what shield they have when you're shooting them, which is pretty good info. So I think that's kind of necessary. And damage numbers, I always leave on stacking. So it basically adds up all the numbers. So it's just one number rather than it being like 12, 12, 12, 12 every time you hit a shot. Enemy health bars, I mean, there's no scenario why you wouldn't want to use this. It's very broken. Not even sure why it's a thing, but we do have it, so keep it enabled. Opacity doesn't really matter. Enemy highlight, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't even know what this is. Highlights 5 opponents within 30 meters. absolutely no clue what that means, but keep it enabled. Wall hacks, yes please. Now obituaries is just going to be basically the kill feed on the side. That really doesn't matter, but I always keep it on. Mini map rotation, again, that's preference. I keep it off. I don't like the way it really does throw me off when it starts spinning around, so I keep it off personally. Weapon auto cycle on empty. Now this one I think you should always leave off. Now mainly because I've had scenarios where you run out of ammo and then you click the button to swap weapons, but the auto cycle on empty had already swapped your weapon, so then it swaps it back, and it's just, it's terrible. It's terrible. Leave it off. All right, then right here, always sprint. Now personally, I think this should always be on. Apex is a very fast-paced game. You're almost never going to be in a situation where you need to just walk. So I've always had sprint on. I think it's just the way to go. And now jetpack glide control. This is for Lifeline and, well, now Horizon and also Valkyrie. Now I think hold is a lot better. I think you get a lot more control with it being on hold, but also if you are not using paddles on your controller, then it's definitely going to be harder to use hold. So if you have paddles, I would use hold. If you don't have paddles, then maybe use toggle. Mantle boost, which you guys know is fairly new, and I haven't actually even toggled through this. So this basically just toggles, I guess, the keybind for the actual mantle boost. Now again, jump is perfect for me, mainly because I have paddles and it's very easy to click jump. If you do have paddles, I would suggest putting it on jump, but if you don't have paddles, then you're just gonna have to find something that you feel comfortable with. I would definitely use the mantle boost UI on full, but at the end of the day, if you don't like what it looks like on your screen, then just get rid of it. Coming damage feedback, I don't think it matters. Pick what you want, does not matter. This one is a little bit important though. Taking damage closes death box or crafting menu. Now I have this off. I would maybe possibly sort of suggest you guys maybe leaving it on. I actually don't know. I don't know why I have it off. I just don't like the feeling of getting kicked out of a death box at any damage. Probably just because, like, when you're in a moment and you're trying to get a quick shield swap, it can really throw you off. So I leave it off, but it might be good to try it with it on. Health and ammo pop up. So this is basically just going to tell you when you're running low on ammo, when you're running out of health. If you're completely oblivious and you don't pay attention to anything else on your screen, then I guess leave it on. I don't really know why I have it on, but it's on. Health and ammo, voice lines. I usually have this stuff off, but it's on and I'll leave it there. Arsenals map and HUD icons. This is basically just going to show you where arsenals are on the map. So I like to see them. I think they're great, so I leave it on. Now streamer mode, anonymous mode, usage sharing, none of those really matter for you guys. If it does, then you know. Performance display, I think if you maybe want to monitor your ping, I would probably leave it on. Now communication filter, you know, if you're antisocial like me, then just turn it off. And now we got the reticle, which has been in the game for a while. It's not as customizable as I would like it to be, but if you guys do want to see what I'm running right here, I think green really does look the best, especially in Apex, how dull all the lighting is. So this like highlighter green, I think really stands out. And you guys can see this little number right here. That's all you got to do is just match these numbers and then you can get this exact reticle color. And same thing with the laser. I don't think the laser really makes much of a difference at all, but I just like having it green. So it's green. And now all of these down here, accessibility, I mean, that's self-explanatory. If you need that stuff, then you know what to do there. And now the fun starts. Controller settings, here we go. Stick layout, if you play on anything other than default, you're weird, but I do slightly respect you. So interact, reload button, you always want tap to use and reload. Now, if you do hate the fact that square is basically 80% of the game, then you could very well experiment with these. Hold to use, tap to reload. So basically, like if you want to open a door, if you want to do something that requires you to press square that's not reload, then you hold it and then you just tap to reload. I tried using it for a little bit, but to be honest, I just couldn't get used to it. So I'm staying on tap to use and reload. Now crouch button, the same thing with like the jetpack and the glide control. I think crouch on hold is much better. I think it gives you a lot more control. But like I said, if you do not have paddles, then it might be hard for you to use hold on crouch. Aim button on hold. I don't think I've ever met anybody that uses toggle. If you do, show yourself so I can ban you from my channel, because that's very weird. So I would suggest to always use hold a survival slot button, use that on. And now trigger dead zones. I don't see any scenario where you would want it to be max, high, or anything other than none. Because basically all this means is, what it says right here, determines how sensitive the triggers are when pressed. And you want the triggers to respond as soon as you press the button. So putting this up to max just makes no sense to me. Just keep it on none. Menu cursor speed. Now menu cursor speed, this is 100% preference, but the higher the better. So you want to get to a point where it's high enough to where you can control it. And now mainly for armor swaps. When you're in the moment, you need to hit a really quick armor swap. The faster it is, the better. And now the bread and butter of this video, the movement and aiminess section. Now, like I said, I'm kind of a pioneer over here, you know what I'm saying? Specifically with linear. Now, I've been on linear since like within the first like 6 to 8 months of Apex, I think. Now, I do gotta say as well, most people, the vast majority of people that use linear typically use 4-3 linear. It's a little bit more consistent, a little bit more reliable. Me personally, I like a little bit of speed, you know what I'm saying? I like a little bit of responsiveness. So I play on 5-4, but if 5-4 is too high for you, then absolutely drop it down to 4-3, and that's pretty much what most people play on. And now per optic settings, you can 100% change all this, but I've never really messed with it much. I don't know why. I probably could go in there and toggle some stuff and it would feel a little bit better, and I might at some point, but as of right now, this is where it's at, and I haven't changed this in a while. Now, response curve, this is the exciting one. Now, linear is the go-to right now for most players, most top players, but linear is very hard. Linear is like true no response. So for a lot of people, especially if you're casual, especially if you have like heavy hands, linear might be too much for you. So you might need to try classic. But do not, and please do not use any of these. Steady, fine aim, high velocity. I know you probably have somebody who's telling you, oh, switch to high velocity, dude, it's sick. I'm going crazy with it. He's lying. Linear is the best response curve that there is. But if you can't control linear, if it's too much for you, then classic is definitely the way to go. And now look dead zone. Look dead zone is interesting because I think this can be a big debate, because a lot of people, a lot of good high level controller players that I see play on linear use a small look dead zone. Now personally, I just like the way it feels on none. I like that extra little bit of control. But like I said, if linear is too much for you, especially with no response or no dead zone, then I would definitely at least try small, because I know there are a lot of very good players that use small. A movement dead zone, again, I think the lower the dead zone, the better. That's just me. But for movement, I would definitely stick with small. Inverted look, I mean, if you play on inverted, you're weird, but then again, I kind of respect you, so more power to you. Vibration, personally, I cannot stand any vibration. I don't think this controller even has like the little rumble motors in it anyways. So I think it's distracting. I keep it off. If you want it on, go crazy with it. And then we got ALC right here. And now ALC is interesting. I don't use ALC, obviously, but I think it's worth talking about a little bit because that's what most settings videos are going to be about, is ALC. Now, I think if you're a very experienced player, you got a lot of hours in this game, you got a lot of hours on controller, then I think it's worth exploring ALC. But if you're like a father of four, you're in your 30s, your 40s, stay off ALC, dude. Your time has passed. My time has passed. Stick to linear, stick to classic. It's not fun over here. Oh, and also I did forget button layout, which is fairly important. Now the button layout is really just going to be what you're comfortable with. And then I guess it's also going to be based off your binds too, if you do have a controller that does have binds. Now before we get into this, I did not mention as well that, okay, so these two bottom triggers, these two bottom paddles, I use jump and crouch. The other two paddles up top, I don't really use much. I do have a square binded to the top one. I don't have a bind on this one. And I've never really used 4 paddles. I've always only used 2. And so right here, you guys are gonna see that I swapped these two, right? I swapped crouch with melee. If I'm remembering correctly, this is a long time ago. I think the reason why I did that was because I would constantly click, I would fat finger the right stick, and then that would cause me to just melee, like in the middle of a fight. So that way, if I fat finger the right stick, all it does is crouch. And that's not gonna get me killed like a melee would. If you can have every single one of these buttons on a paddle so that you never have to take your thumb off the right stick, then that's pretty much the best thing you can do. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you guys that I would be putting up some codes. These are $25 discount codes for AIM controllers. And now these codes can be stacked with my code, which is just FAR. And I believe a fully kitted controller, everything on it, which comes out to like over $400, you can get for like 210 bucks. All right, so now right here, you guys can see somewhere on my screen, it might be a little small. You guys might have to pause. You guys might have to zoom in, but there's like 30 codes on the screen, right? Now, obviously, each of these codes can only be used once, and they expire on the 19th of this month, which is only a few days from now. It's a small promo, and then we'll have some other promos after that. But just remember, if you guys use any of these codes, you guys want to buy a controller, make sure to click the link in my description for AIM controllers, and make sure to use code FAR as well, because that'll give you extra money off. And now, just really quickly, I don't think this matters for most of you guys. If you're on PC and you're maybe just curious, then it might matter. But if you're on console, this may not make much of a difference. But here are my video settings as well. I play on 1440. I get about 270 FPS more or less. I play on max FOV. This FOV ability scaling, I would 100% turn that off. I think it looks terrible. Like when you stim with Octane, your screen goes all like backwards. I hate that. Sprint view shake should always be either turned off or minimal as well. I think that looks terrible. And then just the basic video settings. I used to play on max settings, but I just recently played on like medium to low settings. VSync disabled, NVIDIA Reflex enabled, anti-aliasing on. And then everything down here is kind of random. I could still probably toggle with a few things to get some better quality, but you know, at the end of the day, I upload YouTube videos, so I don't want it to look terrible. Now, I think I got everything. I don't think I missed anything. I wanted to make sure I got the controller down because I know that's probably the most important part. But I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hoped it helped somebody out. Do me a favor, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a sub, a like, a comment. Any of it, all of it goes a long way. And we will also be doing some custom games. We'll be doing some custom games later this week. I'll announce it sometime at the beginning of the week, but we'll probably be doing it towards the end of the week, Thursday, Friday. And I hope to see you guys there. Love you guys, and we will catch you on the next one.